I like this nook.
Hello. So yes, I really loved this window nook and I wanted to use it to set up a still life to paint from, which is what I'm using all of this foliage for. You can see me arranging it all. I'm going for something that looks slightly chaotic, just lots of color, texture, lots of little leaves buzzing around. There's something I really like about the straight, hard lines of the window paired with the more organic chaos of the leaves, if you will. This is me stressed by the mess on the ground, but we will deal with that later.
Needs more red.
I had used the red ribbon earlier to hang something from and wanted more red to complement it. I also wanted a larger linear element, so I grabbed this branch. At this point, I was pretty satisfied with the still life. I liked how there was a lot of stuff kind of propped up and then also a lot of stuff hanging down. Finally cleaning up. I'm basically constantly in a routine of letting the studio get really messy and then trying to reestablish some sort of order in it. A continual back and forth. Okay, and we are ready to go. But first, a list. Did all the prep, still life palette, canvas all ready to go. Second step, ponder, is crucial. And by crucial, I mean it's mostly a form of procrastination and entails doing a lot of sitting and thinking and looking. Yeah, probably did that for an hour. Third up, procrastinate. Didn't we just do that? Yes, but we were calling it something else in order to make ourselves feel like it might actually be productive, whereas this is a more honest version of wasting time. Okay, and then I have to finally actually start. Starting a painting can actually be quite scary. Hence all the wasting time leading up to it. It can be scary because of how much you want the thing you're about to make to be great and the admittedly kind of silly pressure that comes with that. But it can also be scary because there are just a lot of unknowns whenever you begin something. It's totally a cliche, but a blank canvas has an openness to it that can be overwhelming, and that's why you see me starting the way I am with these charcoal lines, creating a little map of where everything is going to go, just to quickly shut down some of those unknowns and give myself an actual structure to play with. Wow, and there's the first brushstroke finally.
I don't think I procrastinated enough.
Okay, well, just when we were getting somewhere. My break of choice lately has been running, and while I run, let's talk about the desire to make something great again. It can be a very motivating desire, and it can also be quite paralyzing, because you are probably smart enough to realize that most things that end up being made are not great. Most things are average, and the likelihood of whatever you are about to make on any given day transcending the average is unlikely. So you have this big desire for what you want, but also you have the knowledge of how unlikely it is to achieve, and that is freaky. But that's when I have to get over myself, go for a run, remind myself that this one little painting is really not the end-all be-all. Yeah. Okay, it's a new day and I added a lot more stuff to the window. I was feeling a lot more ready to actually paint today. I added those white flowers and green leafy vine things just because I wanted more stuff getting all tangled up with each other. It became this like wonderfully complicated feast of visual information, and I really liked the process of looking at it, just trying to make sense of it all with this painting. You can see I'm starting super simply, just laying down these very loose areas of color. I'm still trying to make sure everything is in approximately the right spot before I get too attached to anything. Never cleaned my brushes. The window looked a lot different today. The flowers shriveled up a lot and things were just droopier and less vibrant. And of course the big stick fell somehow, so everything was a little shifted downwards.
I tried to put the stick back into its original position, but obviously the plants can't be put back to what they originally looked like, so that change I just had to deal with. I did take pictures of what it looked like beforehand, and for the rest of the painting I go back and forth a lot between using the photographs for parts and also still referencing the real thing. I prefer working from life rather than from photos most of the time, but there were some specific parts where I did care about capturing the vibrancy, lushness of the plants when they were still, more alive. So the photos were helpful for that. So at this point, I'm just letting the areas of color get smaller and smaller. Things are getting more specific. I'm still very much moving things around, making sure everything is where I want it to be. Oil paint is great because it's pretty easy to just paint over something to make those adjustments, but also sometimes it does get pretty built up, so I like to scrape away older layers, which is what I was just doing before going back over with new paint. You can see here I'm going back in with my charcoal to draw some more. I do this several more times throughout the rest of the painting just so I'm able to quickly find where the edges of things are supposed to be. There are certain stages for me where the paint just feels muddy and like I don't understand what's happening or what's what, and I find that a nice, just hard drawn line can really quickly give some visual clarity before I continue on with more paint. Now that I'm getting closer to the end, I'm using a pretty small brush now and the paint is getting a good bit thicker. I really love this more intense texture that is developing as all the layers are building up. Even at this stage of working more detailed, like in a more smaller scale, I'm still jumping around the whole image a lot. I'm not staying too long in any one place. We're pretty close to the end now. This clip is like 5 seconds, but I cannot emphasize enough how long you spend just sitting and staring at the painting, especially when it's approaching the end. And this is a list of everything I just wanted to address before calling it actually finished. In deciding when it's done, I'm definitely trying to strike a balance between keeping some of the freshness, openness, even energy of the beginning stages, alongside having areas that feel more locked in and detailed.
I think I'm done.
And just like that, it is finished. The whole thing took me a few weeks. Thanks for watching.